A police chase that began with a man hijacking a Jacksonville school bus.
911.
Hi, yes, I'm at the bus stop, and this guy just came up to me with a knife.
Public service with the bus said that the male subject just came across the radio and advised explicitly that he was messed up in the head.
Police say that man is 22-year-old Nicholas Miller.
He got on the school bus with the knife with the bus driver, and they're driving down North Martin Street.
The voice you hear is that of Carlina Lapari, a frantic mother who was waiting at a bus stop when the hijacking happened. She and the children waiting at the bus stop saw it all unfold right before their eyes.
I'm so scared.
It's okay. Just calm down, okay?
Miller led police on a chase for nearly 10 miles. Several drivers called 911 to report suspicious activity.
I mean, he's all over the road. He's swerving everywhere. He has a folding type knife, she advised.
10-4. We're at Highway 5. Looks like we're making a left.
Eventually, police are able to deploy spike strips as Miller approaches an intersection where police are waiting.
It looks like Cabot just deployed them at this intersection we're coming up on.
As police move in, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the 15 students and the bus driver run off the bus. Police rapidly motioning for the passengers to come toward them. As those 16 people run for their lives, Miller is taken into custody.
We begin with a developing story out of Mayflower. The Arkansas Department of Emergency Management saying an oil pipeline ruptures in Mayflower, and it says oil is leaking into Lake Conway. THV 11's Max Siegel live at the scene with the very latest breaking details. And Max, what can you tell us?
Well, Dawn, I can tell you and our viewers tonight a very active emergency scene here on this Good Friday in Mayflower. And to get the details, I want to bring in the city's mayor, Randy Holland. Sir, tell us what exactly happened here.
Well, we had a problem over ExxonMobil had a leak that was in one of our subdivisions. It was Northwoods, and then it is leaking. The drainage is coming into this portion right here of our lake. And we're trying to stop it right here so it won't get into the actual lake that's on my right side right here. That's what we're trying to do right now.
Do we have any idea the magnitude of this, the scope of how much oil may be spilling?
Right now, emergency management is on the scene, and they're evaluating the whole thing right now.
What can you tell us about evacuations and residents in the area?
Again, OEM of Faulkner County is in charge of that, and I've been in touch with them, and they're supposed to be evaluating that situation at the moment.
But have they been put in place?
Yes. So right now they're just trying to get people out of that area for the hazardous and everything, and I'm just over here trying to make sure that we get it stopped before it gets into the lake, because we'll have a real problem.
I think we're playing some video right now, Mayor. A viewer sent us in that neighborhood of some oil going down his road. A very serious situation and scary situation.
Very serious situation, but we're trying to maintain it right now. The oil is shut off. Exxon has shut it off, and I think the main thing right now that we're trying to do, again, is trying to make sure it don't get into the lake. And then environmentalists already coming in. They'll clean it up and everything. But we're just in. That's where we're at the moment.
Finally, talk about traffic and any backups or closings right now on the roads.
There's no closings on this road right now, but it is a lot of backups.
All right, Mayor, thanks for all that information. We're going to stay out here. Obviously, a very developing story out here in Mayflower. For now, though, we're live in Mayflower. Max Siegel, THV 11 News.
All right, Max, very fluid and dangerous situation there. We will continue to follow this story.
News are continuing cleanup efforts in central Arkansas after an ExxonMobil pipeline ruptured and spewed crude oil onto lawns and roadways late last week. Good evening. I'm Craig O'Neill.
I'm Dawn Scott. Many homeowners say they had no idea this pipeline existed, not to mention the fact it was in their own backyards.
And we sent THV 11's Daniel Wilkerson out to track the path of the pipeline, and Daniel joins us now live from Mayflower. Daniel?
Well, Craig and Don worry about their property values and even more so their health. Homeowners say they should have been warned about what was underground. Mike Oswald is worried about his mother.
No, I didn't know.
2 years in a row, social media in Arkansas blows up this very time of year. April 2012 was the Bobby Petrino scandal. This year, the Mayflower ExxonMobil spill. And joining us now, Tim Whitley with the Social Innovation. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you have more on how this event unfolded online. Start from the very beginning.
Well, at the very beginning, it started, of course, with a push notification from KTHV 11 telling everybody that this was happening in Mayflower. And there was, if everybody remembers correctly, I know it was a week ago, but there was photos that weren't being released because they were trying to keep the media out of that area. And so people, residents, and users of social media were taking their own photos and video.
Mm-hmm.
The lengths parents will go to save their children.
You're willing to try anything.
Kaylee Hardick, just 12 years old, fights for her life after contracting parasitic meningitis.
The lump is kind of releasing a little bit that I've felt in my chest all week.
And it's all because her little girl Kaylee is showing signs of improvement.
Today, when you stimulate Kaylee, which is when you move her or, talk to her, she will open her eyes.
Well, Phil, you can tell how much Kaylee is loved when you see how her classmates are stepping up to the plate. They pulled out those lemonade stands that we all love. They're even selling these neat arm bracelets. It's all to help bring Kaylee home. She's been a real friend.
She was fun and she was nice and helpful.
A friend to spend time with, to talk to between classes, and don't forget every young person's favorite time in school.
At recess.
12-year-old Kaylee Hardick still in critical condition Saturday after contracting parasitic meningitis.
I'm lucky to be alive.
Kaylee Hardick is only the third person in the world to see this day.
She's going home, and we're so happy about that.
Wednesday, the 12-year-old who contracted parasitic meningitis from a water park leaves a hospital.
I've got to watch a miracle unfold.
And heads home. First on her agenda.
To play with my dog, Chloe.
And after she sees her dog, you can probably guess what's next.
Seeing my friends.
And she just may be able to see them a little sooner than she thought.
She will, as of now, return to school on Friday afternoon just to meet everybody and to have a reunion with all of her classmates and peers.
And then starting Monday, doctors say Kaylee will return to school for half days for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And if Kaylee's given the green light, she will then return to school full time. It's her parents' decision to bring her to a hospital quickly and a good team of doctors that make today possible. For the first time Wednesday, we hear from Kaylee's father, Sergeant Joseph Hardick.
I'm just glad to see it's here. There's no words you can say. I'm just glad it's here.
It was a roller coaster that I never wanted to be on.
And now Kaylee's mom says they will now turn their attention to saving others affected by this infection. On Wednesday, Kaylee had a bit of advice for children her age.
Be careful when you go to water parks.
Say, wear your nose plug.
Wear your nose plug. Wear your nose.
And since she's the third person to survive this amoeba, what does she think of all the attention she's getting?
Kind of cool.
I tell you, it just keeps getting better. 12-year-old Kaylee Hardick today took part in a parade. She led the way. The city of Benton has stood behind her from the beginning, and for the very first time, her classmates get to see her.
I'm just excited to see everybody.
Just one look at the odds this little girl faced, and it's no wonder the city of Benton is happy this day. 55 days ago, the odds said she wouldn't see it. 12-year-old Kaylee Hardick is the third person in the world to survive parasitic meningitis. And on Thursday, a day after leaving the hospital, Kaylee leads a parade, and her message is simple: thank you.
I'm just thanking a few people, not the whole school.
And not just her school, but the elementary school and passersby on the street line up all to get a look at Kaylee.
It was the greatest feeling that I could imagine. It's been a long 55 days.
On Wednesday, Kaylee told us that the first thing that she wanted to do was see her little dog, Chloe. Well, she says she got that chance, and Chloe couldn't have been happier.
Yeah, that was nice to see Chloe.
A close friend kept Chloe until Kaylee got better. She calls her little dog's response at first sight priceless.
She acted all excited.
Did she?
Yeah.
And as she starts to do the things that all 12-year-old girls do, on this day, Kaylee's mom, Tracy, says the support today from Benton is a little overwhelming.
And this here, I just want to thank everybody because it's made me cry. It's wonderful.
And although her parents were her biggest supporters, her mom says there were days they feared that this day wouldn't come.
Did you think this day would come? I'm so glad it did.
And although Kaylee starts school on Monday on a part-time basis, she will go to school tomorrow just to get some of the hoopla out of the way. Doctors thought that would be best. And so another big day for Kaylee Hardick. In Benton, Daniel Wilkerson, THV 11 News.
Parents, a mom and daddy, any kind of family.
They might not be blood related, but to me, they're family.
These kids are so worth it.
No place to call home. That is the reality right now for thousands of Arkansas children. Hello everyone, I'm Dawn Scott and welcome to our special program, A Place to Call Home, Fostering Hope. On any given day, there are nearly 4,000 kids in state foster care, yet not enough homes to keep them. For the next half hour, we highlight the desperate need for foster families in Arkansas. We tell you what happens to teens who age out of care without ever finding a family. And we give you a rare look inside a home right here in Central Arkansas where multiple teens live who can't find a forever home. THV 11 started our partnership with the Department of Human Services in late 2009, and once a month we introduce you to a child in need of a loving family. So far we've profiled 107 foster children from across the state. Of those, 59 have been adopted or are on their way to having a forever family. 4 teens, however, aged out of the system, never finding a mom or dad of their own. One of those who didn't age out, 15-year-old Truett. He found his place to call home, and it has forever changed his life. 15-year-old Truett Corbin is your everyday average teenager. But the story he is now willing to share is anything but.
I remember me thinking about my situation constantly. I remember me feeling just like I had a hopeless situation, that, you know, nothing was going right at all. I just thought my future is just hopeless, that there was nothing that's going to save me from this disaster.
That disaster began 2 years ago, before he was a big brother, before he ended up here. Truett's birth parents and grandparents failed him. He ended up in DHS custody in a foster facility where he was reportedly assaulted by another child. With a broken jaw and nights spent in the hospital, he was frightened to return, but he had nowhere else to go. That's when Alicia and Michael Corbin got the call.
And it was never on our map to take a teenager. I mean, we were one of those families that wanted to keep our birth order in line and, you know, birth to age 3 only, which would be underneath the ages of our children.
Those birth children, now 10-year-old Gabriel and 7-year-old Naomi. At the time, the Corbins had also just taken in twin baby girls.
But we felt like that we were supposed to step up, and so Michael met the caseworker at the hospital and he brought him home that night, and he was supposed to be our son.
Taking in a teenager was a big deal, but we just, we felt like God just said, you know, I've got this.
My dad came to the hospital, picked me up, and we drove to the house, and immediately I started feeling all this stress on my back, just relieved, and I was at my house.
From that first night, Truett says he was home. And suddenly this only child was a big brother, a son, a boy with his own room, a safe place to begin the process of healing.
I was extremely excited. I got a new last name, a new name completely, a new life, a new start. And God just gave me a completely new way to live.
And he was a mess when we got him, and I told him that I would tell you that before he got here. He was like, I hope you do, Mom. But yeah, I mean, he was in trouble and not making good grades and had, you know, been into a lot of stuff, but we just loved him and worked with him and He went to some counseling, but these children just need families.
Show me your cheesy grin.
And that is exactly what Truett now has: a brother, 3 sisters, a mom and a dad, a place to call home.
He just really has turned around so much and has just blossomed. He is such a great kid, such a hard worker, so dedicated to his family and to his siblings.
Truett has a gratitude and a thankfulness that my biological kids will never understand.
We needed him just as much as he needed us.
Truett now hoping his story will inspire others to adopt teens and will inspire the teens out there who have no home, no family, those often forgotten.
I know that deep inside they feel like their situation is hopeless, and all they're searching for is just someone to love on them and tell them that they're proud of them, that it's okay, everything's going to be fine.
So many teens know that hopelessness all too well. Right now, in fact, there are 942 foster children aged 14 and older. Years ago, 3 little boys found dead in West Memphis, Arkansas. A horrible scene no one in that small town could have ever imagined. Good evening, I'm Dawn Scott. Tonight we look back on the West Memphis murders, the efforts to keep Christopher, Michael, and Stevie's memories alive, and the impact that one day had on 3 teenagers eventually convicted of their murders, sent to prison, and then freed. Also, an exclusive look at what life is like now for Damian Eccles, the man who sat on death row for 17 years. Damian Eccles spent nearly 2 decades on death row for the killings. Today, the release of his paperback version of his autobiography, Life After Death. He is now settled outside Boston and granted me his first television interview in his new hometown since he set up a business and moved into a new home.
How'd you find the building?
This was actually the very first place I looked at.
For Damian Eccles, this is as far away from West Memphis, Arkansas as it gets.
We automatically fell in love with this place from the first time we saw it.
Salem, Massachusetts, a small New England town lined with cobblestone streets, packed with diverse lifestyles, and perhaps best known for its famous witch trials. You identify then with the history here.
I do, just the level of persecution. You know, they sentenced me to death. And it was the exact same thing. They accused me of being a Satanist, of committing human sacrifices, and all these things, which were the exact same things they accused the people of back then. Fortunately, they weren't able to kill me like they did the people that they hung.
I like how small it is.
38-year-old Eccles and his wife Lori Davis moved to Salem last fall, a year after Eccles literally walked off Arkansas's death row. It was all thanks to a rare legal agreement called an Alford plea. He hasn't returned to Arkansas since.
I believe with all my heart they knew we were innocent and they didn't care. I think they knew they had the wrong people, and I think they would have rather executed me and allowed a murderer to walk the streets than to have to come back and admit they screwed up.
That fact alone kept Eccles angry and bitter for the first several years on death row.
And I knew I had to do something with that. I had to find some way to deal with it, just because it eats you alive. It eats at your heart.
So Eccles, while on death row, began to practice meditation and met a Buddhist spiritual advisor, whose photo now adorns his Salem studio. That advisor taught him a practice called Reiki.
Reiki is a Japanese technique. It's very similar to acupuncture, acupressure. It works with the body's natural energy. This is done entirely through touch, through breathing, and through visualization technique.
Eccles is now a Reiki practitioner and operates a healing studio in the heart of downtown Salem. What you're using to start over was what almost took your own life.
Exactly. Alternative forms of spiritual practice. Anything outside of the norm that you would encounter in Arkansas. You know, the really hardcore fundamentalist things, the things that my interest in is what made me stand out. The the reasons I was persecuted in the first place, are what saved my life and what now allow me to help myself and other people.
You have a waiting list of 400 people to give tattoos to?
Exactly, yeah.
And what do they want typically? Or
The
just
only
different?
thing I do are X's.
Nowadays, Eccles relishes life outside death row, explaining this day the meaning of his many tattoos.
It's from the I Ching, the Book of Changes. What it means is whenever you're facing huge obstacles, you don't focus on the obstacle. Instead, you just focus on putting one foot in front of the other.
Eccles also working to nurture a relationship with his now 20-year-old son, Seth, who he's seen and spoken to several times since his prison release. So it's not ever like you can just erase that.
No.
You can't just say, I'm not on death row anymore,
No.
X that out, this is my new life.
No, it's a process.
All of it brought you to this very moment where we are right now.
It did. You know, I always tell people that. I say that whenever you look back at my life, whenever I look back at my life, I can see every single thing forming a chain that brought me to where I am now. And if you take out one single link in that chain, I would be dead right now.
Eccles and his wife now working on a third book together, detailing their relationship and their prison correspondence through the years. They plan to return for the very first time to Arkansas this November.
Let's go. Let's go get some friends.
At first glance, Daniel Lilly looks the part of a typical dog owner.
Let's go.
Weaving,
this way,
turning,
left,
scooping, and navigating his canine duo through the Little Rock sidewalks.
It is not a leisurely stroll at all.
Lilly's passion for dog walking started nonchalantly 9 years ago while watching Oprah.
She said, get a dog, get a hobby. Basically, just get off your tuchus and do something.
Lilly quickly realized his dogs responded well to command.
Mosey, Chewy, sit.
So he decided to expand and start a business.
This is where we're going, and this is how we're getting there, and that's the end of it.
That's right, Lilly walks dogs for downtown pet owners.
Come on, Grant.
And lots of them.
217 dogs across the 9 years I've been doing it.
Janelle Mason says her 2 golden retrievers consider Lilly part of the family.
We got Daniel probably 2 years ago to start taking our dogs out, and they literally know what time he's coming for a walk.
The former Marine keeps a steady pace, averaging more than 20 miles a day.
Busiest day ever was a Tuesday about a month ago. I had 42 walks in 24 hours.
Although he says his hobby pays the bills,
there you go.
It's the constant greetings of love.
Good friends.
That keeps Lilly,
let's go,
chomping for a walk.
Oh, it's man's best friend, obviously, and certainly my best friend.
When Grant Leslie plays drums, it is loud. It is powerful. And if you're in the room, you can literally feel the drum beat.
I love it.
His face reveals his passion. Sitting right here on this throne is exactly where he belongs. This day, practice at Conway's Institute of Music, mirroring Grant from the band Tragically White, drummer Byron Hayes.
Byron's taught me a lot of drum rudiments and stuff, and he's a great teacher.
Grant is like any teenager. He worries he's messing up. He frets over how it all sounds. He's self-conscious. Nothing remarkable about that, but what makes him so extraordinary is what you don't know. At birth, Grant was diagnosed with a rare condition.
The doctor automatically knew that he had a condition, arthrogryposis multiplex congenita.
On the Miracle League field this day, Grant plays out his other passion, baseball, where you can clearly see the effects of his diagnosis. Grant was born without specific muscles. He can't bend his arms or his feet, and he's endured countless surgeries and therapies. It's nearly a miracle that he can even play baseball, that he can beat the drums at all.
I didn't ever think I was going to be able to play an instrument, but I guess I just sat down one day and started jamming, so it got better and better every time I played.
Now this is Grant's therapy. Good not only for the muscles he does have, but also good for his soul.
Yeah, it basically just makes me forget about the troubles of the day.
He doesn't let anything get in his way of doing what he wants to do.
His mom, Westy, says from a very early age, Grant never gave up.
And this talent on the drums, no surprise to her. Thinking of what her son faces, at times heartbreaking.
He's a blessing from God because he's asked before, why is he this way? And I said, you were made this way for a reason. And one day you'll find out why.
It makes me want to push and try harder.
Pushing louder, more powerfully, in his own incredible way. Grant Leslie, letting nothing stand in his way, dreaming big.
His dream is to be a rock star. He wants to make it big. So, I hope it works out for him.
Along 107 in Sherwood, a guy by the name of Kevin Johnson takes pride in shaking his sign and bringing smiles.
It's pretty exciting. I have folks blow, they honk at me, they wave, I wave back.
Johnson has become a familiar face to motorists passing by. Nearly every day, he stands in front of Central Arkansas Mattress with his headphones on and full of plenty of energy.
I listen to all kinds of different music, like 3 Days Grace.
Johnson began shaking signs in 2006 for a pizza company and then moved across the street where he now promotes his own advertising business along with the mattress store.
I do birthday advertisement, garage sales, and other events.
And he does it with one goal in mind.
They could get in the bed, move. When they see me out here, oh, they make their day.
Johnson says it's the community that keeps him coming back every day. He's even built a friendship with the mayor of Sherwood.
I heard people telling me that I do a great job, that they like seeing me out here every day. I bring in business, that they stop because of me.
Johnson says he gives credit to his parents for his work ethic.
My mom and dad taught me and raised me.
And he hopes he leaves a legacy of kindness.
I hope people remember me like being kind to others.
Craig, Liz, we can all agree that this stack of files is a pretty good amount. Well, imagine going through 15,000 of these. That's the mountain of cases the Pulaski County Prosecution Office goes through every day. Heading into the office used to be slower paced for prosecuting attorney Larry Jegley.
This will blow your mind.
Nowadays, the workload, well, goes on.
Hefty amount of paperwork.
And on.
They can't imagine.
And on.
With all the thousands of files that you see sitting here, there's many, many more in process in our records department and in the 44 attorneys' various offices.
An estimated 15,000 active felony cases and more than 100,000 misdemeanors.
Huge number of case files.
Jegley says the only solution will come by the obvious reduction of crime, but he also needs more help.
State General Assembly's mindset is no additional personnel.
The state recently approved one additional attorney, but Jegley says it took them 12 years. Nearly 80 support staff assist the prosecutors.
I do normally about 40 a day. So it can get on up there.
Tamara Looney handles felony cases as a records clerk and says there's no time to waste.
If you've got downtime, you just move on to somebody else's desk and get something off of theirs.
Attorneys sometimes handle between 300 and 400 cases at a time, and Jegley says the office has to adapt to the growing demand.
Work harder is all we can do, really, and do more with less.
Now, you may be wondering if this caseload slows down the justice system, but according to Jegley, it doesn't if an arrest has already been made. Supreme Court rules require that cases with an arrest be filed within 60 days of the arrest. As far as the case in Sherwood where 3-year-old Jalen Diggs died, Sherwood police have turned the case over to the prosecutor to see if there is enough evidence to move forward with an arrest.
The damage is so severe that we need to be evacuated.
That neighborhood was like a scene from The Walking Dead.
Make sure that we get it stopped before it gets into the lake.
We're just trying to keep people safe.
Incredible, and that is oil.
It's been 1 week today since an oil spill put a small town in Arkansas on the map. Good evening, I'm Liz Massey.
And I'm Dawn Scott, and last week thousands of barrels of heavy tar-like oil spilled out of the Pegasus pipeline onto the streets of a neighborhood in Mayflower. Since then, all eyes have been on ExxonMobil and the company's efforts to clean up the spill.
Still, 22 families unable to return home, and tonight we begin our special coverage with THV 11's Craig O'Neill live in Mayflower tonight. Craig?
Liz, we have a beautiful day in Mayflower, and they are so thankful for that because the rains and the cold weather have hampered the cleanup effort. Today, they got a break, and they have kicked into overdrive. An army of 600 people working in places, well, as you can see behind me, and actually, if you can see the white booms behind me, that's actually good news. That means there's no oil. When you see a white boom, they're not picking up any oil. And that's what they want to see when it comes to these cleanup efforts, because the big battle is all about the environment. And Dustin has joined us here. Dustin Wilson joins us now. You have watched this up front today, this battle going on. What did you see?
Craig, I spoke with UCA professor Dr. Ben Cash. He and some of his students were called in basically to help recover some venomous snakes and get the crude oil off of them. While their efforts seem to be working, they are concerned about long-term effects to the overall ecosystem here in Mayflower.
They felt it unsafe to handle really the venomous reptiles, so they gave me a call and said, would I be willing to at least take some of the snakes to see about cleaning them off.
Dr. Cash agreed. Now he and his students work to rehabilitate the reptiles.
It's similar to the tar that's just on roads. It's what the consistency of it is. So and it gets stuck on pretty good.
While Cash reports the roughly 10 snakes appear to be doing better, the future is of more concern.
Well, it's not killing the animals, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is more long-term in its effect.
Cash says scientific studies show alarming results from the byproducts of this crude.
It's a Wabasca heavy crude from the tar sands of Alberta. Things like benzene, sulfur, natural elemental, toluene. These are all sort of organic solvents and complex aromatic hydrocarbons, which are particularly concerning in that they are carbon-based and they can be taken up by living organisms.
The professor says it could take generations to see the potential physical effects.
Problems in the development of the offspring, or literally problems with the ability to reproduce.
Grad student Nick Saxey urges officials to follow the repercussions down the road.
I hope this isn't a flash in the pan kind of story. I hope state and federal agencies are here for the long haul.
Now, Dr. Cash says that a lot of these animals acted sluggishly. Just to give you an example, a cottonmouth snake, which was typically pretty aggressive, Craig, acting sluggish, not moving very quickly, and so they're definitely impacted by this oil.
Don't want to be the one having to clean oil of a poisonous water snake.
Well, these guys are finding ways to do it, and they're trying to be as safe as possible for sure.
Look at the activity going on behind Dustin. You can see that they are picking up any part of the oil or any part of the shoreline there that could have oil in it or contained in it. They've got a line of people working to bring those bags on shore. And we continue to gather more information about the Pegasus pipeline, which was carrying that oil. According to a news article posted on ExxonMobil's website, the pipeline underwent 2 significant changes in the last 10 years. One change occurred in 2006 when the pipeline system reversed its motion and began moving crude oil to the Gulf of Mexico. Prior to that, a lighter oil had been moving from Texas to Illinois. The more recent change came in 2009 when the pipeline increased its capacity by 50%, about 30,000 barrels per day. Both times the pipeline was inspected, no problems. Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe said the Pegasus pipeline was inspected in February 2013, but results of that inspection had not been returned. We must tell you also another development today. The first lawsuit filed against ExxonMobil was filed today. We'll have more on that later, especially tonight on THV 11 at 10. Let's bring in Max Siegel, who joins us now. And Max, it's the lake that is a primary concern. This is a big fishing weekend. The question, how safe is it?
Yeah, Craig, a lot of people
still questioning, still a little skeptical whether or not Lake Conway is in fact safe, but we are hearing from ExxonMobil as well as the Arkansas Game and Fish, I should say. They say the lake is safe, and they also wanted to clarify something when we talked with them late this afternoon. They said where the confusion may come is that there is a 30-acre cove is what they're calling it. Other people have called it a large drainage area for the city that sits on the south side of Highway 89. That divides the cove or that drainage area from Lake Conway. Oil is in that body of water, but that body of water has since been sealed off. It is not getting into Lake Conway. Authorities feeling the main body again is safe. And when I was out today, you may be seeing some folks fishing with their boats heading out to the lake today. They seem to be taking comfort in that things are fine out there, that things are safe, conditions are good. And I talked with Chris Racy over at the Arkansas Game and Fish today. He says it's okay to do more of that this weekend.
The main body of the lake is open to fishing. We have no reason to believe that it won't be a great weekend of fishing. So we'd encourage folks to get out there and go fishing in the main body of Lake Conway. It's a great fishing lake.
And Arkansas Game and Fish officials, that man you just saw there, Chris Racy, also telling me if someone does happen to be fishing in the lake this weekend, they do come across some affected wildlife from the oil, Craig, they say you can certainly call that, report that. They have biologists that are on the scene working here, and they will check it out.
Know this lake, know the people, know this area so well, and I can tell you, they have really had quite a week. And actually, a person that on our staff that's taken a look at it is Liz Massey. Liz, one heck of a week for Mayflower. Let's go back to you.
That is right, Craig. It has been a long, tough, and trying time for those affected by the Mayflower oil spill, a spill that's catapulted the small town into the national spotlight. From evacuations, wildlife rescues, to questions from state leaders and families, to Exxon's massive cleanup. Tonight, a look back at the past 7 days.
So that is a pipeline that is busted.
Running down streets.
The smell is unbelievable. I mean, look.
And pouring from lawns in the Northwood subdivision. It's video now seen by millions. 1 week ago,
it flowed from approximately 2:45 when it was discovered by a homeowner to after 3, and I want to say almost 3:30.
The Mayflower oil spill, a mess triggered by a ruptured ExxonMobil crude oil pipeline. Dozens evacuated. Cleanup crews on scene.
And I'm just over here trying to make sure that we get it stopped before it gets into the lake, because we'll have a real problem.
Close to 20 agencies responding within 90 minutes, stopping the leak. 24 hours later,
we're just concerned about our property values and what is ExxonMobil going to do for us.
County, city, and state officials, along with ExxonMobil, meet with concerned families, not only wondering when they'll be allowed back home.
The first one was 2 days, the second one was a week. Now I get here and find out 2 weeks.
But what the lasting effect could be.
If you have been harmed by the spill, then we're going to look at that and how to make that right.
By Monday, it becomes clear many homeowners had no idea the pipeline even existed, not to mention in their own backyards.
Somebody should have, let us know when we're building the houses.
Digging deeper, THV 11 learns the pipeline starts in Illinois and ends at the Texas Gulf Coast, cutting a path straight through the middle of the natural state. We also find out,
easy girl, easy girl, easy girl.
The oil spill isn't just impacting families.
We've just received 8 today.
But wildlife too. Volunteers doing their best to rescue animals.
You don't know the long-term impact of the absorption of oil.
To help with the efforts, Exxon calls in experts. Back at the scene,
we're not comfortable saying exactly when people are going to be able to go back into their homes.
The Arkansas Health Department, along with the Environmental Protection Agency, continue monitoring air quality.
I've been in touch with the Attorneys General of Louisiana and Mississippi.
On Tuesday, Arkansas's Attorney General Dustin McDaniel announces an investigation into the cause and impact of the oil spill.
We will evaluate what happened, what our responsibilities are, and how to proceed.
That night, Exxon officials meet in private with those still searching for answers and clarity.
Now you're telling me that the damage is so severe that we need to be evacuated for 2 to 3 weeks, and yet when their so-called cleanup efforts are done, we're just supposed to take our kids back out there and say play in the street.
On Wednesday, Arkansas's top law enforcement officer, Dustin McDaniel, hit the ground, evaluating the damage firsthand.
That neighborhood was like a scene from The Walking Dead. There were still Easter decorations on homes, but there was not a soul in sight other than people in hazmat suits.
Before McDaniel toured the area, Congressman Tim Griffin was there as well, saying he was very satisfied with Exxon and cleanup efforts.
I believe that they are here to fix this. Look, I'm sure that they would rather not have this happen.
On Thursday, a day after Griffin and McDaniel toured the area, we hear for the first time from Governor Mike Beebe.
I've talked to everybody. I've been there, seen the site. I've talked to the Exxon people. It's pretty impressive, the amount of people they have on site. But, you know, you got folks displaced, and that's never good.
Exxon officials also responded Thursday to concerns about access and information regarding the spill.
We're just trying to keep people safe, and we don't want the oil to spread.
Since the spill, the neighborhood has been closed to media. Exxon says it's simply for safety reasons.
We consider this a major event, something we never want to happen.
And Exxon says they have 600 people working to restore Mayflower back to normal.
And we'll be here till it's complete, and we'll get the oil out of the environment.
Still, 1 week later, families are holding out hope their lives will soon return to normal.
Incredible, and that is oil.
Now, as of yesterday, Exxon says they've recovered about 19,000 barrels of oil and water.
Well, today, Mayor Randy Holland released a statement saying Mayflower was dealt this situation, but again, this too shall pass. He adds the debate on oil will continue, but the town, with God's grace, will move forward. And we send things back out to Craig, who is live with Mayor Holland right now.
And Mayor, we just heard the inspirational words that you woke up and wrote down. About what time this morning?
Oh, it was right in the middle of the night, actually, and I woke up and thinking about a question that one of you guys on Channel 11 asked me, and it was the only question out of all even the national media or anyone has asked me. They said, what are we missing? And what is missing is exactly what y'all are reporting. I appreciate Channel 11, just like showing that the guys today are on the lake. They're fishing. And it's the positive of it. It don't just have to be the negative of everything.
Speaking of what's happening over in the Northwood subdivision, what is your top priority? What's at the top of your to-do list going into the weekend?
Very top is try to get our residents back into their homes. That's my main concern, because that's my people.
One of the things that struck me is how this community, without any prompting, whether it means bringing cookies to workers or jumping in the water.
That's a small town atmosphere, and we're very proud of that. I've never been more proud to be the mayor of Mayflower, Arkansas in my life. And proud of all of our Faulkner County judge and emergency management, all of those guys, because I'm telling you, we all work together, and that's what it's supposed to be about.
How many people have interviewed you this week?
There's been hundreds of.
How many languages can you speak?
It's been amazing. It's just like it's over and over and over again that you tell the same story. It's almost like being in a hospital that you have, someone and you tell the same story over again. And I do appreciate that. But I appreciate Channel 11 because y'all have actually understand the other side of the story.
In 10 seconds, how much longer are we going to see an army of 600?
I'm not sure until it gets done and cleaned up. And whatever it takes, that's where they're going to stand there.
Mayor Randy Holland, who feels that this is making Mayflower stronger, and there will be a comeback, and we'll follow that story, too.
And it will be, with God's grace.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's go to Ed.
Thanks, Craig and Mr. Mayor. You know what? The weekend's looking good. The cleanup effort will continue. The weather should be no problem. Hope you enjoy this forecast that I've got for you coming up.
Well, it's beautiful outside, and it's going to be beautiful tomorrow. And we love you so much, Ed. We just have so much love for you right now.
Dude, I love everybody out there. I just love the weather, too.
Yeah.
You know what? Doesn't it make a difference, though?
Oh, yeah.
It makes the world a difference. Yesterday at this time, I was out here, and I actually wanted to cry. I wanted to cry because I was wearing sweater vests still, and it was cloudy and 42 degrees. Today, it's sunny, and I'm emptying the rain gauge for the last time in quite a while. We picked up about 4/10 of an inch of rain yesterday, and I believe it extended into the day before, late in the evening. But we're done with the rainfall. Things are clearing out. Skies are clear, sunshiny, and temperatures have rebounded nicely. Here's a look at what's going on with the satellite perspective, and you can see clear skies. There will be a few high clouds streaming in overhead tonight and tomorrow, but those should not really affect our forecast. I mean, just a few high clouds, and that will really be about it. The sun will still be the dominant feature into our Saturday and even into Sunday as well. Look at the numbers from today. 36 our low, so it did get kind of cold with some patchy fog this morning, but we made it to 69. Just 1 degree away from the average high for this time of the year. Now that is a big warm up considering yesterday we were only at 48. That's nice. North Little Rock 42 and 68. Your extremes. Right now at 68 at the airport, mostly sunny and the dew point's low, humidity very low, 31%. The wind light out of the southeast and the pressure's high at 30-10, but it's rising. So 68 degrees here, 70 still in Arkadelphia and in Camden and El Dorado, 69 Monticello, 66 in Stuttgart, 67 currently in Searcy. Central Arkansas, we're all hovering here in the middle 60s, upper 60s, 69 Benton, 68 in the Village, 66 in England, and 67 in Whitehall. So here's the forecast, and really there's really not much here to tell you other than a few high clouds approaching late tonight and for most of the day on Saturday. That's 2 o'clock in the morning. Here we go into Saturday morning, 8 a.m., a few high clouds. It'll make for a beautiful sunrise. During the day, mostly sunny skies with just a few high clouds passing overhead. Now, here, I got to show you this map because other than sunshine, it will be a little bit breezy. Watch how the winds pick up tomorrow in the afternoon hours out of the south, 15 to 20 miles an hour, just about wherever you are in the state of Arkansas. It will be kind of breezy tomorrow afternoon out of the south, 15 to 20. Lows tonight dropping down into the upper 40s with highs tomorrow approaching 70, mid-70s actually, 72 in Benton. So tonight 47, mainly clear. A mild night. Tomorrow we'll see a high of 77 degrees with lots of sunshine, so it will be a warmer day. And then we kind of cool down a little bit Sunday with more clouds, but still nice right on through Monday. Dawn?
All right, Ed. Well, up next, I'm with Tim Whitley. He's with the Social Innovation, and we have thousands of photos, videos, and information that's been shared this week from a small town of around 2,500 people. Up next, we will talk about the impact social media has played during the ExxonMobil oil spill. Stay with us.
Plus the nachos. Boy, this is the ballpark. It's opening season for the Travs. No drama here, but there was some drama in the sports world. We'll talk about it a little later on. Stick around.
2 years in a row, social media in Arkansas blows up this very time of year. April 2012 was the Bobby Petrino scandal. This year, the Mayflower ExxonMobil spill. And joining us now, Tim Whitley with the Social Innovation. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you have more on how this event unfolded online. Start from the very beginning.
Well, at the very beginning, it started, of course, with a push notification from THV 11 telling everybody that this was happening in Mayflower. And there was, if everybody remembers correctly, I know it was a week ago, but there was photos that weren't being released because they were trying to keep the media out of that area. And so people, residents, and users of social media were taking their own photos and video of the scene. We know that that one video from Mr. Barnes has now 3 million views on that just one video. And there was another post from a resident that was dramatically affected that took a photo of her backyard and said, listen, I know the media can't come out here, but I've taken a photo, I've posted on my profile, and that one photo had about 300,000 shares on Facebook. So it went social real quick.
Well, and we've seen the scene, the homes, and then we began to see the animals that were affected as well. All on social media is how so many people got their information. How big of an event on social media was this oil spill, Tim?
Well, you are looking at some of the footage that we have here, the social media. There are, you know, the hashtag was AR oil spill. That's how people were following it locally. But now it's starting to transition into more of just a hashtag oil spill. And during the break, you and I were talking about oil spill because it's becoming a bigger picture, especially with the Keystone thing involved, with the Keystone pipeline. There was also, you're looking at right now, an Exxon Cares. That's actually a fake profile. That is a parody that somebody created that is now has about 700 followers, but it's basically making fun of Exxon's
And the reaction to this.
to it, yeah.
How, though, has social media played in terms of getting information out to either the residents or people who need it the most?
And we're seeing that a lot, where I was on social media via Twitter, and I was looking at residents actually tweeting back and forth and retweeting a lot of what THV 11 and the local media outlets were broadcasting, because they were trying to also get out their word to their families and relatives how they were doing. But it was pretty amazing. Some of those residents now went from 30 followers on Twitter, to now 20,000 followers on Twitter, and that's what happens in today's evolution. So.
Always fascinating. Tim Whitley with the Social Innovation. Thank you for your expertise tonight. We'll send things back out to Craig. He is live tonight in Mayflower.
And Dawn, there are lessons being taught to us by this pipeline and the rupture in that pipeline. What are those lessons? Well, we'll examine a few of them, and we come back with Craig's Twist on THV 11 at 6.
This has certainly been a dramatic week in Mayflower, one the residents there will never forget.
And it calls into question so many issues involving the environment, government's response to emergencies, community involvement, and more.
Craig has more thoughts on this as we head back out to Mayflower for a special Craig's Twist tonight.
Dawn, a week ago, I drove from my house to downtown Little Rock, THV 11, total of 6 miles, and realized I had left the blinker on the whole time. Another indicator I'm over the age of 60, 62 to be exact. And if that wasn't enough, I get indicators from my coworkers at THV 11 every day. But now, keep in mind that the pipeline that ruptured in the Northwood subdivision is 2 years older than me. And what we got a week ago was an indicator of how old it is getting. My indicators, funny. That indicator, not so much. It was foul, it was tragic, and it's still causing so much work and concern. But now this is also a call to action. It's a message to all of us, and I'm not just calling out Exxon. They're partly to blame, because I'm not pointing fingers, actually sharpening the focus that Mayflower should now be the epicenter of this country's new focus on the investment in infrastructure. Not just pipelines, but whatever is around us. In fact, this weekend, look around you. Chances are you'll see something that needs improvement. If you don't find anything, ask a county judge. They'll be glad to tell you. They know in their counties and communities where the blinkers have been left on. Love to hear your thoughts. Go to our Facebook page, THV11, or THV11.com, and share your thoughts on what we've seen in this past week. Let's go back to Liz.
Thanks, Craig. We have so much more information about the oil spill on our website, THV11.com. Our digital editor, Rebecca Carter, is here to explain exactly what information is available and how to find it.
Yeah, Liz, since last Friday, we've done so many stories and also found so much more information about the incident in Mayflower that we created its own webpage on our site. If you go to THV11.com, click on Mayflower oil spill at the top of the page. There you'll find every story we have done on the topic, including ones on air quality in the area, cleanup, and reaction from people who live in the area. We also have helpful information such as contact numbers relating to the oil spill and maps of the Pegasus pipeline. The most popular items on this page have been the video, especially from the day of the oil spill, and our photo galleries. And if you have pictures of the oil spill or the cleanup, you can upload those directly to our photo galleries. Again, all of this information is conveniently located on the Mayflower oil spill page at the top of THV11.com.
A lot of great information there. Thank you, Rebecca Carter. Of course, you can also follow our Twitter handle at THV11 for the latest updates, as well as our Facebook page. Dawn?
All right, well, the weather is better. We're trying this again. Tonight, the home opener for Travs baseball already underway. THV11's Mark Edwards there for a great night of baseball. What a difference 24 hours makes. Mark?
Yeah, what a difference. The weather is definitely much better out here today. Game one of a doubleheader already underway. Travs already on the books, 1-0. At least that's what we think. A little bit of drama going on. The umpires will shake that out. We'll take a commercial break and come back and look at sports. Finally, we have baseball here at Dickey Stevens Park. The Travs, game one of a doubleheader, taking on the Frisco Rough Riders, and I mean, it's just drama so far, but the Travs are up 1-0 early. A little bit more drama here with the Travs. Catcher Carlos Ramirez suspended for 50 games after his second offense, drug violation. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 10. Let's take a look at some other sports, some other business happening, especially with the Hogs football team. Tomorrow, the Razorbacks will hold their second spring scrimmage. It's been slow, but a huge learning curve in the first scrimmage. Lots of mistakes on both sides of the ball. They've worked this week to correct some of those mistakes. Defensive coordinator Chris Ash believes the Hogs can get it done this weekend.
Just a lack of attention to certain details got us in trouble a couple times, and that's some things that we're trying to work with the guys to understand that we've got to detail our work. You know, and when we get out there, we say, hey, step this way, step that way, put your hands here, don't put them there. Those little details will help us get a lot better, and we're still learning that part of the process right now.
All the drama continues at Rutgers University after the coach was fired, the assistant coach resigned. Now the athletic director, Tim Pernetti, has resigned as well. In a letter to the university, he said he wished he had overwritten school officials and fired basketball coach Mike Rice back in December. Bernetti's resignation comes 3 days after the video came out showing light of Rice shoving and grabbing players on the basketball court. And finally, don't forget about the Final Four tomorrow. THV 11 up first. Wichita State versus Louisville afterwards. AP Player of the Year, Trey Burke and the Michigan Wolverines taking on Syracuse. It all starts at 6 p.m. And speaking of starts, right now, Travs just scored again. Matter of fact, a couple of runs. Before we go, guys, you got to see this. Part of the entertainment today. Disco Donnie, is it?
Yeah, Disco Donnie.
Disco Donnie is a hip-hop dancer. Let's check him out. Show me what you got, Disco Donnie. Well, all right. Hey, oh, hey. Come on. Hey. All right. Well, stop. There we go. Good job. Wow. Thank you. God. How can you miss this entertainment is all I got to say. Ed, back to you.
Now, Mark, you know I can pull off those moves. You've seen me. And I know you're not going to comment on that. Okay, maybe not. Here's your look at your evening outlook. If you're headed out and about tonight, it's going to be nice. I mean, temperatures are pleasant, 64 at 8, dropping down into the upper 50s by midnight with mainly clear skies. So a pretty pleasant evening and more good weather for your weekend. That forecast is coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Ed. It is the new cash crop in farming for thieves.
Copper theft is becoming a constant worry for farmers in Lone Oak and surrounding counties. THV 11's Meredith Mitchell has more on how this criminal mischief is affecting farmers' bottom line.
In the past, copper theft has typically been seen as an urban problem. Now, scrap metal thieves are targeting farmers.
The copper thieves are coming in and, you know, whether it's underground wells or the grain bins, they're coming in and cutting the wires and stripping every bit of the copper wire out.
Lone Oak County farmer Matt Schaefer says he's been hit several times by thieves and is now fighting back with high-tech security.
The one thing that we've done personally on our farm is put a lot of cameras up. We have security cameras. We have, you know, alarm systems monitored by ADT.
Schaefer says he's not the only one who's taken a hit. His neighbor across the highway suffered a huge loss just last week. Copper wiring that runs under these huge grain silos were ripped out, and frayed wire is all that remains.
You'll have $300 worth of copper wire stolen, but for an example, a grain bin might cost $25,000 to repair.
Schaefer says on average it costs thousands of dollars to repair the damage, while thieves only make a couple $100s in profit. Lone Oak County Sheriff John Staley says lawmakers need to step in and make stiffer penalties for those who purchase scrap metal.
It's killing us. You know, we need some legislation that puts some teeth in holding the businesses that buy the copper that's stolen.
Schaefer says until there's legislation to curb these thefts, he and his fellow farmers will work to protect their livelihoods.
What you see now is all of the farmers are setting up at night. People are taking turns watching their grain bins. They're coming together, and that's a good thing. That, you know, that's a really good thing, but it's also a bad thing because what state legislators don't understand is that somebody's going to get killed.
In Lone Oak, Meredith Mitchell, THV 11 News.
The Lonoke County Sheriff's Department says there have been 158 copper thefts reported to their department since January.
Yeah, 30 of those have involved farming equipment damage.
The manhunt for a pilot out of California ended today. Dennis Hunter turned himself into Saline County authorities this morning. He's wanted by Homeland Security. They won't say why, though. Federal authorities called Saline County Sheriff deputies Monday night to alert them he'd landed there to refuel, but when they approached him, authorities say he flew off. Hunter abandoned the plane near Stuttgart Tuesday. He posted bond at $150,000 earlier this afternoon.
Next.